Thanks so much, Dr. Jayobi. And excuse my messages in between because we are running short on time. I hope that Chief Peter Sloly is around because he had to run for a meeting as well. Chief, are you there?
Yeah, hi, Evan. Thank you.
I'm sorry for the delay, but you can imagine 260 people and so many presentations. Sorry.
No need to apologize. I wish we had more time for listening than speaking, but you asked me to provide some comments, so we have other members of the police service who can continue even as I leave, and they will report back to me the content that I missed in the last few minutes, but I've been here from the beginning and grateful. First of all, I want to thank you a bit and the United for All Coalition for putting this on. And I recognize there's a lot of participants, many people who couldn't speak, others who were speaking had to be rushed to try to allow for more opportunity. Nonetheless, this is an important opportunity. I'm also grateful, took a lot away from my listening and learning here, but particularly Dr. Hindia Mahmood, her validation of and perspective on the interdependent institutional inequities that everyone is working hard but not necessarily achieving the right outcomes. That if we're going to tackle this, that in her wisdom and experience, a best practice is an integrated system, intersectoral collaboration. And you've heard me on many occasions talk about the community safety and well-being plan for the City of Ottawa as one of those ways to significantly change the way that public safety is addressed in the city in a much more collaborative and intersectoral approach, collaborative approach, and one where the community has a much larger role in leading those changes, designing those changes, evaluating those changes, and continually improving those changes, and one where the police are only a support role and not the leadership role. And I think Hindia's comments validated my faith in that legislation and my faith in the city to bring that to fruition as it relates particularly to policing, more broadly to community safety and well-being. I also want to recognize that systemic racism exists in policing, in the Ottawa Police Service, in the justice system, as well as in the other institutions that Hindia referenced, the economy, healthcare, social services, to name but a few. I have a complete speech that I provided to the Steering Committee on Public Safety and National Security on July 24th. I repeated that full content at the public board meeting, which is available on YouTube on July 27th, just yesterday, for those who would like to hear my full commentary on that. My next area is to congratulate Councillor Ralston King for his courage in pushing for the anti-racism secretariat, and of course the Mayor and Council for supporting that, and welcome and congratulate Yusra for her role. Looking forward to working with her, and hopefully she can help us with our internal efforts at the Ottawa Police Service. Last but not least, I want to recognize the efforts that the Ottawa Police Service has been making. We are attempting to do our own institutional change by changing in our culture, our operations, and our organization of the Ottawa Police Service. Again, I went through that in detail yesterday on the Ottawa Police Services Board public meeting. That's available on YouTube for people to review the full presentation. Specifically, the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Action Plan, which has been posted, I believe, by Hamid Musa in the chat area with the link to it. Again, it's available for those that want to have a deeper dive. That is being guided by our Community Equity Council, which is made up by a number of subject matter experts from our local community, but particularly representing our Black, Indigenous, and racialized communities. And they're very much involved, again, in the design, implementation, and evaluation of all of our efforts around the EDI action plan. My last comments is we are listening, we are learning, and we are changing. Obviously not fast enough for everybody. And there's a fierce urgency outside in the community. I can tell you there's a fierce urgency inside the police service. Much has been done, and much more needs to be done. Sessions like this will advance our efforts and hopefully convince others to help us in our efforts. So thank you very much again, Abid, and I'll have to sign off at this point.
Well, thank you so much, Chief Sloly. One thing before you leave, I've been working with the three chiefs so far, from Chief Bevan all the way to Chuck Barlow, and worked very closely. And I was thinking that no one could match the commitment to the community level social services work as Chuck Barlow, but you have surpassed them. Your passion, your commitment, and your support is unmatched. Honestly, thank you so much.
Thank you to everybody who's participated.
Bye. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for holding on until this time. It's 3:13. We still have more than 207 participants. And last but not least, we have Michael Allen, the CEO and President of United Way. So for being the last person speaking, Michael, I'm going to give you the opportunity to wrap it up for us to do my job as well. Thank you.
Oh, well, that's very generous of you, Abid, and thank you. I'll try to be brief, but nevertheless cover what has been seemingly a two-hour span that has gone by so quickly with so much in it. The mayor said that he enjoyed the meeting, and I must confess, I'm not sure that's the only emotion I felt as I participated in listening to all of the stories. It was yes, enriching, but there were some pain points throughout this as well. I felt some anger and frustration. I felt some courage, of course, and certainly an overwhelming sense of humility. So I want to thank you all for the contributions that you've made. When Abid, who has received many accolades today and before, and I'm going to offer him another, first brought this to us in the context of a response that he first referred to of a meeting that we had with Yasser Naqvi and Rabbi Bulka and a number of other community leaders. He felt that he could undertake an effort to pull together under admittedly a broad, but nevertheless a single umbrella to try and deploy the efforts of the community sector and those who address issues of hate and violence to try and focus our efforts as a community. And I think he came back to me about 3 years later saying it was the hardest thing he had ever done. And I consider Abid to be one of our strongest community developers. And I can see why he had that challenge today. There were at one point, I think, close to 270 participants, a broad array of perspectives, many of which have touched me personally. I know that my surname, Allen, which is the Welsh spelling, doesn't easily reveal my racial background, which is of a mixed marriage. And Dr. Joby, I can't tell you how much I appreciated your articulation of the loneliness that the Chinese community feels. My mother was a member of the Chinese community before she passed away in Winnipeg, but she always felt a great need to assimilate and integrate, because that's what the Chinese do. And that was even more compounded with a mixed race children. And I now face that same challenge. My daughter was, I think the mayor said that we often compare ourselves to the United States, and we can do so dangerously and falsely so to think that we are superior. But I can tell you that I speak every day to my daughter, who is married to a Black young man, and she herself, of course, is of a mixed race, and they have had our first grandchild, Mila, who is of a now mixed race. And so we go through special and different challenges than I have heard today. Not that they are better or worse. We have our privileges, we have our challenges, but that loneliness that you spoke to, Dr. Joby, was very, very meaningful and touched me. So thank you for articulating that. My final comment will be that I have valued very much this listening forum. I know that the city wanted to put life into the commitment that they have made, and Councillor King, congratulations on your leadership and commitment. I am feeling very, very blessed, I think, to have built a foundation here that I do not see everywhere. And I do have all of you, and particularly Abid, to thank for that. We have some institutional buy-in and commitment that is not necessarily shared in every jurisdiction. We have an alignment of literally hundreds of organizations and individuals that all bring a slightly different set of perspectives and expectations and strategies. And our challenge now, and the challenge that United Way will commit to through United for All, will be to convert those perspectives into action. How can we now have this conversation, have this deeper appreciation for one another, and yet move forward on the strategies that Abid spoke to that the United for All coalition has developed back in March? There are more strategies to be added, but there's more aspects of our work that will be done. And so this foundation probably needs to continue to share our stories, because there is very significant power in sharing perspectives and sharing stories. But I will hope for, and I will continue to urge our collective efforts to put these sentiments into actions, into strategies. I want to acknowledge the work that's done by the Ottawa Police Service, done by the City of Ottawa, done by other levels of government. I believe we have, in large measure, strong allies to build this work. The challenge for the community sector is going to be if we can organize ourselves in such a way that we can equally contribute strategically, successfully, concisely, and to calibrate that effort appropriately for all of us. That will not be an easy task, but I welcome the leadership from all of you who have been on this call, and look forward to our work continuing in the days ahead. Thank you, Abid, for again today, and thank you for all for your attention.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for your kind words, and thanks for your support. Folks, we are 19 minutes past our regular time. In a nutshell, I was supposed to be wrapping this up, but Michael wrapped it up in a few words that we need to convert our perspectives and our ideas into action. And what we would do is we'll capture all these ideas, turn this into a report, and then share with all our partners at different levels to see that how can we build strategies around these ideas. And there were a few questions posted in the comment box repeatedly asking that what next, and is this going to be the last conversation opportunity? So we are going to create more opportunities so that we can build on the community strength and their views. So please stay tuned for that. I just wanted to thank all the folks which are working behind the scene, the translators, the sign language folks, all the technical support, and also want to thank the city's team who has been working closely with our Rapid Response Committee. So we'll be in touch. Stay tuned. And we'll take it further from this point onwards. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you, Abid.
Take care. Bye.